right, let's get started then. Hello and welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm here today with Gabrielle. He is a Site Flow Customer Success Manager. I'm sure you guys have all already met. Want to thank everyone for joining today and taking the time to discuss peak season 2023. First, I want to let you know that the meeting is being recorded. We'll have dedicated Q&A times. So please be sure to post your questions in the Zoom Q&A area where Gabrielle will help monitor so we can address as time allows. Also, a copy of this PowerPoint will be saved in the support knowledge base, so you can easily access the links that you're going to see throughout the PowerPoint. Let's see. All right, so today we're going to be focusing on preparation for the upcoming peak season. During all times of production, the goal is always to find and use the most efficient process to produce and deliver the best products. But during peak season, this efficiency becomes imperative. So with that in mind, we've chosen a few topics to discuss today on how Site Flow can help with this. We will review some tips for smoother order ingestion to reduce downtime, troubleshooting errors, production summary reports for flagged items to quickly find reprints, late items, and more. For shipping, we'll demonstrate how fast it is to create custom stations, possibly specific to peak season. And we'll also review HP's offering for extended support during this time. So first up, smooth order ingestion. For some time now, we have supported an asynchronous order endpoint for order submission. We recommend using this endpoint instead of the older version to help with efficiency in your production and with the Site Flow platform as a whole. It's designed for more flexible scalability to be able to support a higher influx of orders. The API response does not include any submission errors. Instead, those errors are logged in Site Flow or Brand Center. Under Orders, Order Management, and then view submission errors. And of course, this endpoint has the advantage of supporting the robust functionality of computed attributes, manipulating many pieces of data that may be useful in different parts of the production process. Continuing to ensure smooth order ingestion, proper file submission is essential. PDFs can be created using many different programs with many variables that can make the end result not the best. With the complexities that each file can have, there is not a single sure fixed solution. But as a basic rule of thumb, we suggest using using a PDF that is created in Adobe and is PDF X4 compliant. This allows for the clean metadata without flattening the file. Fonts sometimes can be also a culprit for failures. So we recommend embedding all the fonts along with defining glyphs and special characters to avoid downtime. Now, Site Flow can perform these pre-flight checks and fix-ups automatically. The PDF X4 is automatically available as a default at the product level, but a custom callus pre-flight profile can also be imported. Site Flow supports callus version 12 pre-flight profiles. And then we have some links here for Freshdesk documentation for more information. All right, now, while the obvious goal is to have smooth production without issues things don't always go as planned. So during peak season, finding and resolving any issues quickly is key. This is where the flagged items can help. In analytics, take a look. In analytics, under flagged items, you can see details of items that may need attention or specific urgency under the late items tag. It shows you all of the items that have a ship by date of yesterday. You can see that here. And the status is not shipped or canceled. Clicking on the shipment ID takes you to view the shipment. Clicking on the order ID, you can view the order. The next tab, reprints, allows you to quickly find any reprints where they are in production and when they're due to ship. So you also have the links here, all the item information, what batch it's in, the current event, and the ship by date. On the next tab, errored order files, you can see items from the last month that are in failed status, showing data regarding the item as well as when the order was last updated here. And finally, the failed batch impositions. You can quickly navigate to the batch and see the due date. Also, what you might find useful is that you can export a CSV document with all of this data. Maybe using it in a production meeting or using it to analyze data, looking for commonalities, recurrent issues, etc. Also, would like to point out that this page is updated every 20 minutes. Up here on the right side, you can see the last time it was updated. So I'd like to stop here now. Gabrielle, is there any questions yet?
No, we don't have any questions unless anyone in the audience wants to make a question now. Okay, sounds like no, so yeah, we can proceed.
All right, so our next topic is using batching rules to optimize production. A new option has been added to the batching rules that will help your batches be organized by due date. The buckets can now be sorted by ship by date, either ascending or descending. The files in the batch output, either JDF or PDF, can be sorted by ship by date. But if you prefer to separate the batches by ship by date, that's also now available. So here we see in production and in the batching rules, I've created a batching rule named ship by. Here I've enabled batch by ship date, and I've added a product name attribute. If we go to the buckets, I've currently got it sorted by this batching rule, and you can see that each one is batched by a different ship by date. If I select the bucket, every one of the production end times are the same. Here, I've created another batching rule for sorting, and I've added the product business cards. So if I go to my sorting here, this top option will sort the items in the bucket by ship by date, and depending on what you choose here, either ascending or descending. So I've chosen ascending in this case, and this option will show you, will sort the jobs in the batch by ship by date, And you have other options here as well, but specifically we're looking at ship by date, and in this case I've chosen descending. So back to the buckets, we can see my product, and then the production end time is ascending, 29 or September 28th, October 1st, October 3rd. And with the batch created, we can look at the jobs here and see that it's descending as we chose, October 3rd, 1st, September 28th. And this is how the imposed file will be sorted. And if you're using a JDF, it'll also be sorted that way. The next topic for batching is batching by single item. Now, a single item is defined by one single line item in the shipment that does not need to be reconciled, meaning nothing has to be married with it. There's no other line items that need to go in the box to be delivered, shipped at the same time to the same end user. This allows for a faster shipping process. So here in the batching rules, again, I've enabled batch single items separately here. And what it'll do, we'll take all of the orders that have one single line item and batch them together, depending on the other configurations. Now, this will show in your green sheet, the bottom left here. If you're batching by a single item, you'll see the word single. If not, it'll say multi. And something to keep in mind with this functionality is that Site Flow doesn't account for stock items in this. So if you have an order that has a single production item and a stock item, it will still see it as a single item. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're using stock items. All right. Any new questions?
Yeah, we have one question from Matt. Just place it in the Q&A. Maybe we can discuss it together. The question is, if batching by ship by date, why would there be mixed ship by dates? Should everything be batched all with the same ship by date?
So there's two functions here. One is to batch by ship by date, and the other is to sort by ship by date. So you can have a batch that contains different ship by dates, but sort them in order of ship by date. Whereas when you batch by ship by date, every batch will have the same ship by date. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Matt
Okay.
says thanks. Thank you, Matt,
Okay.
for confirming.
Yes. Okay, good.
Thank you for the question.
Yes. Okay, so moving on. During peak, let's see. We're going to talk a little bit about the shipping stations. So one of the most valuable benefits of the new shipping section is the ability to create shipping stations one time. You create them with specific settings and then save them. For peak season, you may need to have extra shipping stations to accommodate a higher volume. Creating these stations can be done in a couple of minutes and then duplicated in the UI. Let's say you have, you've added 3 temporary workers for peak season, and you've decided to split the reconcile and dispatch process, and you need to create a dispatch only station for those extra workers. If we go to a shipping tab here, you have a list of stations in your configuration. These are your all year long stations that you use regularly. And for peak season, you just need to add a couple more. So then we'll take a new one, and we've decided we want to add a dispatch station. We'll name it here. Then we'll put our details in, what we want our user to see in the top here. We'll need to choose a wall for this type of station. And then enable our printer. Choose which printer we want to use. Add a thumbnail pop-up. Do we want our user to be able to edit the shipment, split the shipment? You see those options pop up here. And then, the custom display and our scanning modes. Okay, so we've got all of our settings done, and we save. That took less than a minute. Once we have that station created, we can then duplicate, change the name. And, for a dispatch station, you may only need to change a few things. So it would be faster just to duplicate them from here and then make your couple of changes. So we'll go here and edit. And we change our wall. Maybe it's different per station. And our printer, because it's, probably also different per station. And our packaging. Change the default package. Maybe it's only used for a specific product, depending on how you use your stations. And we save that. We edit our other. Change our wall. Our printer. And our packaging. So you can see I've just created 3 new stations in 2 minutes. And when your temporary user comes in, there's no training involved. All they need to do is choose their station and start scanning. Oh, here, sorry, let me get in the right place. Choose their station, and they're ready to go. So a little bit about the new shipping section. We are still in a transition stage between the old and new. The support for the old UI has now ended. We're no longer making any changes to the old UI, any bug fixes there. The full deprecation of the old UI is scheduled for January 31st, 2024. So if you haven't already, we'd suggest migrating to the new UI as soon as possible. We've had a lot of users or a lot of customers already using the new shipping section, and we're having a lot of success. I think we've surpassed 100,000 successful shipments using the new shipping section, and users are experiencing much better processing times, setup times, things like that. And we have a whole host of documentation that can be found on the support knowledge base. I'm sure that this topic has a lot of questions, but anything specific to setting up shipping stations at the moment?
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you need separate setups for different stations, or can you use one setup for several stations? One station on several.
Is there something specific that you would like?
No,
that-
I'm
that
just,
you're asking?
just a question. Do I need to create one for every shipping station, or can I use one
No,
for
yes,
several
most
stations?
of the time, here Nora answering. So most of the time, because you will have a different Zebra printer on each station, you will have to create a different station entries in configurations. And this is important. So if you don't print labels, you just want the documents, which sometimes happens, okay, then there is no issue. But because of the Zebra printer or the any other printer being different on every physical station, it's important to differentiate them here in configuration. On top of that, next, one of the things that will enable this model of station is like the data per station. So it's important to differentiate as much as possible so that then we can monitor exactly when things happen.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Any more questions around the shipping, the new UI? Okay, good. Yeah, let's continue.
All right. Next, we are offering extended support service during peak season. That's kind of like what we did last year if you were involved. A regular SLA for support is 8-hour coverage during the work days. And within the same business day, you'll get a response if the ticket is created before noon. The next business day response, if the ticket is created after noon. For the extended support, we're going to offer that from mid-October to mid-January with 24-hour coverage during the working days. Plus, we'll be adding 16 hours per day on the weekends. Now, this will exclude the holidays, December 23rd to 25th and December 30th through January 1st. And we expect a 4-hour response time. If you're interested in taking advantage of the extended support services, you'll need to reach out to your sales representative who will extend an SOW to you. Now, along with the extended support, you should also know that Site Flow will not be performing any big deployments or changes to the system during peak season. We will continue to work on any bug fixes, but no major development changes during this time. Right, so that's all the topics we had prepared today.